I am the top dog here, up to and including missing an event that every single one of my teammates, aside from Hassan Reddick, who's not even fully a teammate yet, was at, because I had a pre-scheduled appointment to go do ayahuasca, supposedly.
I want to end it on this because it's a cultural discussion as much as a basketball discussion. My initial take, and I'm standing by it, is that the media doesn't know how to handle Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, but Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark know how to handle it. The media's parachuted in and awkwardly defended Clark, who's like, I don't need defending, it's basketball. That was my initial take. It's still my take. She's an excellent player, both are actually, and that they're fine, and that there were 130 flagrants this year in the NBA. There were 65 last year in the WNBA, exactly half, and they have exactly half the games. So flagrants happen, sometimes not by villains. Many of the most liked players commit a flagrant. Things happen in sports. And I'm going to double down on this, is that Angel and Caitlin, for their age, are handling it almost like Dak Prescott level, where they go to the podium, they know exactly what they're doing. It is us that doesn't know how to handle it, parachuting in.
That is exactly right. So, like, listen, if I were advising Caitlin Clark, would I have told her, hey, there are some really nefarious bad actors using you to be divisive, and you might want to get out ahead of this earlier than she did? Yes, I would have advised her for that, but I think she has handled all of this scrutiny in her early 20s and fame and all of it I give her like a A- on the grade sheet. Angel Reese, would I have advised her, hey, if you're going to kind of lean into the villain role at the press conference, don't say the refs, took control of the game. There could be a little more accountability right after the moment. Sure, but I give her an A- in how she's handled it. I give the internet and the sports media not only an F, but you have to repeat the class. It is shameful.
Yeah.
What we're doing to these two young women. And the way they are being used as pawns in what is our never-ending national culture war that has race at the forefront of it. The fact that there are folks that paid for verified Twitter accounts and are now trying to suckle off Elon's money by putting up disingenuous, fanning the flame tweets, whether it is that, Caitlin Clark is this delicate flower that needs to be protected, Angel Reese is some predatory villain, or the flip side of it, the folks tweeting, actually, when you look at it, Caitlin Clark, not that good at basketball, all to get engagement because they're going to get a check from Twitter at the end of the month is shameful.
Yeah.
What is undeniably true is this. These two young women, who are the two most famous players in the league, far from the two best, but right now they're the two most famous, they have been the best and the second best rookie so far this year.
Yep.
The only two rookies averaging more than 10 points a game, these two. Caitlin, one of two players in the league averaging 15, 5, and 5. Angel, the only rookie averaging double-digit rebounds. And neither one of them is playing into this whole they hate each other piece. I do think there's a real rivalry.
Yeah.
I do think there is competitive fire. And what they are doing, Colin, if I may just quickly, it is exactly what the media begs NBA guys to do. Oh, back in Michael's era, people weren't so buddy-buddy. Now everyone's friends. Where's the competitive fire? We are seeing it, and we're complaining about it and trying to turn it into something that it's not. Yeah. It's a great basketball story, and it's great for the league. At some point, it will go back to being a basketball story.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the girls are great. I mean, it is, and I will say this with a bunch of kids in my life, is that my kids are more mature than I was. And certainly at this time, they've grown up with tech and they've gotten access to more information and they're smarter. And I think a lot of it is Caitlin Clark has watched how to handle controversies in her life. She's been a rock star for 2 or 3 years. She's brilliant at the podium. And Angel Reese is kind of leaning into the villain, and that's okay too, because
That's okay too.
yeah, I have defended Draymond Green, not just because he works at my company.
Oh, you don't say.
Occasionally, rarely, infrequently. But the point is, Steve Kerr considers him, after Curry, the most valuable commodity, the most valuable player. There's what Angel's doing is needed on virtually every basketball team in time.
And if I may just quickly, and then I know we got to go. It is so patronizing to both of them. Acting as if Caitlyn needs protecting. She has been a badass as a basketball player her whole life.
Yeah.
She doesn't need protecting. And acting as if Angel is infallible in everything and that any criticism is unfair. She is a star athlete.
Yeah.
You know what we do with star athletes? Pick at them, criticize them. They are both, and they will both be better for this, for going through this. And I think eventually they are going to be the actual earned faces of the league rather than, great college players who are having good rookie seasons.
Yeah.
And it'll be excellent for it. But people are uncomfortable with the fact that Caitlyn, the hot shot, high scoring rookie that's a little undersized, is getting beat up a bit.
Yeah.
But that is the story of sports.
Yes.
And it is not about her being a white girl, and it is not about any of this other stuff. She is this rookie that is trying to light the league on fire.
Yeah.
And bigger people are going to remind her it's not going to be that easy. That is how sports work, guys.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah, by the way, Bryce Harper dealt with this not for a 6-game stretch, for 3 years. He walked into, I said this yesterday, the WNBA and baseball are similar in that both have lamented the attention other sports get. NBA, NFL got more than baseball. Yeah. WNBA's like, hey, we got an audience, you talk NBA. And so they're very insular. They can be a bit defensive. They're very proud. Baseball, there's a way to play. WNBA, we got this. We're good at what we do. So I understand they're a little defensive when a newcomer comes in. A lot of us parachute to talk about their sports and only talk Bryce Harper and Caitlin Clark. Like, I get a little pushback. And I'm totally, it's the junior senator. Like, I get, when Tiger Woods came into golf, I can remember being a local sportscaster. Do you guys ever show anybody but Tiger? And I'm like, he makes golf interesting. To your point, Bryce Harper, Caitlin Clark, Tiger Woods, we have seen this over and over. By the way, what is golf?
And as far as
golf's very insular as well.
Yes, and this, I'll leave it at this. And even you mentioned guys who were all-time greats, or Tiger, obviously, Bryce, a really, really great player. But hey, this rookie's getting a little too much publicity, and we want to take him down a notch. Somebody go back and watch Lonzo Ball's first 10 games and how he was guarded. Honestly. Yeah. And that wasn't race. That wasn't money. That was essentially, your daddy talks too much and we don't like it. And so that is part of sports, guys. And everyone needs to just take a deep breath and recognize, whether you like it or not, the WNBA is going to follow a lot of the beats of sports because it's a sport. That's all.
Good seeing you, buddy. First things first, after our show today, I knew we'd have a lively ending with Caitlin Clark, and Nick and I don't agree on a lot, but sports is great for a lot of reasons, and one of them is you got to earn it and prove it. And Caitlin's going through that tunnel. Nick, great seeing you as always. Rick Bucherl stopped by last hour to talk about the Celtics championship. One of my favorite parts of that, though. And Nick said a lot of interesting things. He said, I don't want my first words to be criticizing the Celtics. And that's how I felt this morning. My lead is, hey, listen, this is a good team. I think it's more perfect time for this team over dynastic. Derek White re-signed. Then all of a sudden you start looking at this team. They could run off a few of them. But it is, you can think things simultaneously, that the WNBA is a tad chippy, but this is how Bryce Harper, this is how Lonzo Ball, this is Tiger Woods. Certain sports, the NFL's not. Football is America's sport. Women account for like 50% of the viewers. But baseball's different. Golf has country clubs, private clubs. Baseball, there's a way to play the game. A lot of our sports are very much about the club. Baseball's whole thing is, hey, you don't stare at a home run. Why not?